Midweek update time, and we are staying disciplined with the Seattle-centric core we laid out yesterday while tightening our exposure based on the latest data and news signals. At quarterback, we are keeping Sam Darnold as our primary play for tournaments. The why has not changed. Price-adjusted upside and leverage at 16,200 with dash rank 100, an 18-point projection against the Patriots, who have a tough defense overall with an opponent rank of 7. The field is still about 0% owned despite 30 in his most recent game after 9-9, and that combination of low ownership and demonstrated ceiling is exactly where we want to be. The narrative tailwind is intact too. Several off-season pieces questioned Seattle's quarterback swap, and that skepticism continues to suppress sentiment. If you want a high-salary bringback or a mini-stack pivot, we will also have some Drake May exposure, but only if he's cleared. He's listed questionable, projected 21 at 16,500 with 22 per game, and he faces Seattle, who have a tough defense overall with an opponent rank of 3. The news flow is supportive of his ability to compete at this stage. Essentially, sports highlighted NFL legend Kurt Warner pushing back on the idea that New England had an easy path and gave a strong verdict on May's postseason run, and there's additional coverage of May gearing up for the Super Bowl. We will keep May in correlated builds with Patriots pass catchers or kicker, and keep Darnold as the core when we are Seattle heavy. At running back, we are changing from yesterday's Kyren Williams stance to Kenneth Walker III as our feature back for this slate. The why is slate context and recent form. Walker is 14,700 with dash rank 89, projected 14 against New England, who have a tough defense overall with an opponent rank of 7, and he's about 0% owned with recent fantasy outputs of 21, 39, and 17. Multiple articles have noted the arc of his season and the stakes down the stretch, including coverage of his early season lull and late push, and that volatility is our friend in tournaments. We like Walker's ability to finish drives in a lower ownership spot, and he correlates cleanly with Seattle stacks while still playing fine as a one-off in Darnold or defensive-led builds. At wide receiver, we are moving our WR1 to Cooper Kupp at 7,800. This is a price-driven attachment to our Seattle core, and a narrative that actually has legs. He's projected 9 with 7 per game, and logs of 14, 11, and 5, heading into a matchup with the Patriots, who have a tough defense overall with an opponent rank of 7, and he's about 0% owned. Multiple reports detailed the emotional fallout of his Rams exit and the revenge performance on the way to Seattle's Super Bowl berth. We expect New England to sell out to slow Seattle's alpha, which makes Kupp an ideal secondary stacking partner at a modest tag. The broader beat has also emphasized that Seattle has one of the best wide receivers in the league, but could use a complementary pass catcher, which is precisely the role Kupp fills in this offense at this salary. At tight end, we are pivoting off yesterday's Hunter Henry to A.J. Barner for correlation and salary efficiency. Barner carries a dash rank 100 with an 8-point projection at 7,200 against the Patriots, who have a tough defense overall with an opponent rank of 7, and he's about 0% owned. The recent logs of 3, 0, and 3 will keep him overlooked, but in lineups built around Darnold or Seattle onslaughts, Barner is the cleanest way to buy red zone variants without paying a premium. Flex is where we anchor the slate with Jackson Smith-Njigba. We are elevating him to priority flex because the why is overwhelming. Dash rank 100, a slate-leading 27-point projection at 11,100, 23 per game, and a last 3 profile of 34, 11, and 14. He draws the Patriots, who have a tough defense overall, with an opponent rank of 7, and he is still about 0% owned in many optimizers due to matchup filters. The news supports the thesis that he's the engine of Seattle's passing ceiling. Sporting News named him the 2025 Offensive Player of the Year. Essentially, sports put him on the non-quarterback MVP ladder alongside Puka Nakua, and CBS Sports' Zach Paredes featured Seahawks Patriots in a Super Bowl 60 prediction piece that underlines how central Seattle's pass game star is to their outlook. When the projection, award-level performance, and matchup leverage align, we push chips in. At kicker, we are siding with Jason Myers at 8,100. He's projected 11 with recent outputs of 7, 11, and 8 against the Patriots, who have a tough defense overall with an opponent rank of 7. The why is simple. When we expect Seattle drives to move, but possibly stall in the low red zone against a tough defense, we lean into a reliable leg. Several features this week reminded the market that Myers is among the league's most respected and well-compensated kickers, and we will gladly capture those field goals in Seattle-led builds at about 0% ownership. On defense, we are flipping from yesterday's Patriots defense exposure to the Seahawks defense at 6,600 in Darnold builds. The why is correlation and matchup. Seattle faces a Patriots offense that is middle of the pack overall with an opponent rank of 11, their projected 5, and they come at negligible ownership. It is perfectly fine to pair Seahawks D with Darnold because defensive scoring often accrues via short fields and sacks in winning scripts. If you are building Patriots-led lineups with May stacks, we still like the Patriots defense as a value at 4,000 against Seattle, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall with an opponent rank of 14. That unit has posted 12, 7, and 5 across the last 3 and carries a dash rank 58 with a 6-point projection. Just remember the correlation rule of not playing Patriots defense with Darnold. Quick value corner to complement the core and reflect yesterday's logic with today's news. Rashid Shaheed at 6,300 remains our favorite salary saver in Seattle builds. Dash rank 100, a 10-point projection, and game logs of 6, 9, and 1 with about 0% ownership. The trade coverage via NFL Insider Reports and the Unsung Heroes featured this week reinforced his field-stretching role. He's a direct leverage pivot off Coop and Darnold stacks and a mini correlate with Myers for field position plays. Ramondre Stevenson at 13,200 is viable as a bringback where you are betting on Patriots' competitiveness or May-led scripts. He projects 16 with 13 per game, and logs of 7, 12, and 16 against Seattle, who have a tough defense overall with an opponent rank of 3. There was a report of a concerning update earlier in the week after Mike Vrabel's injury announcement, which could keep ownership at about 0%. Monitor status as we get closer to lock and consider him in lineups that need a contrarian RB with pass game equity. Austin Hooper at 3,000 is a punt tight end for May stacks only. He projects 3 with recent outputs of 0, 2, and 0 against Seattle, who have a tough defense overall with an opponent rank of 3, and he will be basically unplayed. You are buying roots and savings to jam JSN. Andy Borregales at 7,500 is the kicker pivot for Patriots-led builds. He's projected 9 with 4, 4, and 10 most recently. The rookie season features this week cited his 126 points and high conversion rate, and in a game where Seattle's defense tightens in the red area, Borregales gives you leverage off Patriots TDs at about 0% ownership. To recap the changes from yesterday, we are holding our quarterback stance with Darnold as the core and adding conditional Drake May exposure if cleared, swapping Karen Williams out for Kenneth Walker III due to slate context and recent ceiling, moving our WR1 to Cooper Kupp for price, correlation, and narrative-driven involvement, pivoting tight end to A.J. Barner for Seattle stack efficiency, locking Jackson Smith-Njigba as the priority flex because his awards-level season and projection justify it, siding with Jason Myers for kick-scoring correlation, and flipping defense to Seahawks D and Darnold builds while keeping Patriots D in May stacks. The why behind every move is the same. Exploit low ownership and strong correlations, respect the tough defenses on both sides, and lean on the most relevant news, from JSN's Offensive Player of the Year season and MVP chatter to the My discourse. Cup's Rams exit coverage, Shahid's trade, and the kicker features that hint at how these drives may end.